Easy. I haven't checked the drive, so don't even. I'm not even gonna bother asking.
What?
Did you pull the one we had to pull? Did you pull the marathon?
I did pull the marathon. I didn't pull the audio yet. I pulled the videos.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and I got a new version of Nero to help me extract audio, etc. So it should be kind of better.
Hip hip hooray!
Yeah, it was cool. I got a whole new platinum set of Nero updates for like $20. It was really dirt cheap. Yeah, I couldn't afford it not to do it.
Fancy pants. We're gonna have to pull this one quickly though, because I'd like to publish it tomorrow.
Yeah, I mean, I can go ahead and try to probably pull it tonight.
Okay. If not, by lunch.
In South.
Yeah.
By lunch. By lunch.
Oh, weird. I'm getting some feedback, but it's.
By lunch.
I think it's time I need new headphones.
Well,
so, if anybody out there would like to donate a set of headphones to the Mr. Chris Headphone Fund, please send an email to behindyourspodcast@gmail.com.
Hey, do me a favor. Check your output because you came in hot there. I know you were yelling, but
hello. Is it me you're looking for?
I would say just drop it a little bit because when you yell, which you do,
which I do, you make it sound like I'm some kind of Let me check. No wonder gain control went back on.
Oh, that's too low now.
Okay, just give me 1 second.
Yeah. You do you.
I do me. How's that?
A little bit lower.
A little bit lower. How's that?
Perfect.
And when I talk really loud,
that's a little too loud.
Okay, so I'll just leave this.
So just try not to yell.
Oh man!
Yeah, animal.
Under control.
All right. Let me.
Hey, everybody.
Hi.
Got a good crowd going on. Hey, do us a favor. Share, please. Really, share.
But while you're sharing, because it is caring, don't forget to thank our sponsors. Let's start with Fantastic Memories Travel and its Mouse Massive Travel Group. You know, the Mouse Massive Travel Group, they're strictly Disney-related travel. But say you want to take a cruise somewhere that wasn't Disney related. Well, you would use Fantastic Memories Travel. Maybe you want to book a trip to Europe, a trip over to the West Coast, use Fantastic Memories Travel. But if you were just looking for that very specific trip to Disney World, Disneyland, anything made by Disney, you want to use their little arm, I'm going to call it, of the company, which is the Mouse Master Travel Group. Like I said, they focus only on Disney destination vacations, and the Mouse Master agents love taking care of the stressful parts of your vacation planning, like, 180 days out, booking your ADRs at 4 in the morning for you. You can check them out at mousemastertravel.com, but don't forget to tell them Behind the Ears Podcast sent you. Coming home from those Disney vacations, we all get the Disney blues. Well, I've got a company that basically can hold those Disney blues over until your next trip, and that company is Mickey Monthly. What they do is they bring you a surprise box of Disney goodies direct from the parks each month. They curate these perfect custom boxes to your particular needs. They have things including Disney trading pins, Main Street snacks, park merchandise, and so on and so forth. Packages start at a low cost of $7. So you can cure that Disney withdrawal today by heading over to mickeymonthly.com. But while you're there, let us save you a little money. We could save you 35% off your first box by using our special promo code RADIO35. That's RADIO 35. You're on Streaming the Magic watching us here. So maybe you're a fan of Streaming the Magic. Maybe you're a big fan of Behind the Ears Podcast. Maybe you love just waking up in the morning before you go to work, having that cup of coffee, and seeing someone stroll through Magic Kingdom because you like to live vicariously through them. Well, for $5 a month, you can get the VIP treatment. You might be asking yourself, what does the VIP treatment get me? Well, it gets you exclusive streams inside all Disney parks and resorts that only a VIP member gets to see. And you also get a special and intimate show once a week with us, the Behind the Ears Podcast, where you can't hear it anywhere else. We don't download it. We don't save it. It's just strictly on the VIP page. So once again, for $5 a month, head on over to Streaming the Magic and become a VIP member. And now, streaming the magic proudly brings to you Behind the Ears podcast. Welcome back, everybody, and thank you for tuning in to another episode of Behind the Ears podcast. We are 1 day removed from Labor Day weekend, and we have a big topic for you tonight. I am Uncle Danny. That is Mr. Chris, and we do have a special guest hiding below that you all can't see just yet. But before we get into that, Chris, how was your Labor Day weekend?
Well, let's see. Labor Day weekend? Pretty darn good. I mean, after all, I did the usual things for Labor Day weekend. I fixed things, I cleaned things, I cooked things, and I drank things. I don't know if it could have been any better, to be honest with you. Oh, and I even volunteered time. So what could I say? It was a whole bunch of stuff going on, and it was just a really good weekend. How about your weekend?
It was good. We had the lovely Alex traveling up from Miami to New Jersey for the first time, seeing the Garden State. So I became not only a boyfriend, a chauffeur, and a VIP tour guide, but I had some fun. Ate some food, rode some rides, won some stuffed animals. Oh, I won a comb.
You won a comb? Really? You really? That's your comeback is. Most people win a stuffed animal or something. They give it to their significant other because it's like, oh, cute. No, you want a comb? Really?
I had enough tickets, and she thought it would be great for the show, so I won a comb. But now I can't find it. It's somewhere in the mess of stuff, so I'll find it for later in the week. But you know what tonight's show is all going to be about? Obviously, if you read the show title, it's Hurricane Irma. Is that how to pronounce it? Irma? Irma? That's crazy to think that we're already on the eyes. I mean, the season's just getting going, but this is going to be a very interesting topic tonight. But before we jump into the topic, we want to bring on somebody who has been a pillar in the Disney community with answering questions, posing questions. You might know him as the man who likes to post a mini novel when he responds, but if you have the time to read his comments, they are very well done. They're very in depth. They're well researched. He's got a plethora of knowledge. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, we proudly bring to you Brian. Brian, how are you doing on this fine evening, sir?
Pretty good. Yourself?
I'm doing good up here in the Northeast. You are a Orlando resident or a Florida resident. We'll just leave it. It's probably a little easier. Just a Central Florida resident. So there's a lot going on down there. So, you've got your ear to the ground. You've got your finger to the pulse. Tell us what's going on down there right now.
Well, basically everyone's getting ready earlier than normal. So they saw Houston and they're not waiting, and they're not getting. People are buying a lot more than they normally would, so shelves are pretty much empty already.
That's crazy, and the crazy part is we don't even know where it's going to make landfall, and people are already, stocking shelves. But I mean, hey, after how devastating Harvey was, I can't blame anybody. I know. The Keys are already a mandatory evacuation. I was talking to Alex, who's down in the Miami area, and she already said that some of the Miami schools and colleges are closing on Thursday. Miami, the Keys, all the elementary schools and things like that are already shut down. So, I mean, we know it's a couple days away. They know they're going to get hit in one facet or another, but they are, they're pushing people out because they see the significance of what this storm is really packing. As of this morning, I know it was up to a Category 5, which you're seeing gusts of up to 180 mile an hour winds, which is that's absurd.
We're talking near finger of God type of destruction possibilities. I mean, that's pretty intense, man. I mean, I've been through her. I was through Hurricane Jean, and that was in 2004. So yeah, it was quite a while ago. But the interesting part to it was that, I mean, that was the deadliest storm of 2004. And we had sustained winds of like 130. And I got to tell you something. I've been through a lot of wind and, microbursts and near tornado type activities in the Midwest. That was horribly intense to see what kind of damage that did. To not just older buildings in Central Florida, but even newer construction. It was quite impressive. And for it to be a Category 5, 2 magnitudes higher, yeah, I can see why people are starting to, look, try to, store up fuel, store up water, store up food. Because I'll tell you, if it knocks out power and stuff like that, you're going to be hosed for quite some time.
Yeah, it's going to be a wicked storm. They're saying that maybe when it hits Cuba and it starts to gobble up some. That's probably a bad terminology to use, but once it starts to hit some land masses, we could see a breakdown to a Category 4. Here's the thing: nobody knows as of today's Tuesday, September 5th. No one knows where the storm is going. You've seen it slamming dead straight into Miami. You've seen it coming under Miami and cutting the state in half. You've seen it basically going right in between basically Cuba and Florida and heading into the Gulf. We've seen North Carolina getting hit. I've seen the craziest predictions of hitting New Jersey and even making its way up to Massachusetts. No one knows what's going to happen. But Florida knows they're getting some form of horrendous weather, so they are trying to stay on top of it. But so is Disney. So do either of you want to touch on some of the things that Disney is, going away with or, starting to do for some of their customers, Brian?
Probably the easiest one is they're already getting ready. So I know the tree trimming trucks are out. They're probably already made arrangements or blocked out rooms to move everyone from Fort Wilderness out of Fort Wilderness. Because that's, a lot of trees, tents. They can't really stay there. I haven't heard if they've done a call for, and I'm going to forget the term they use, but the staff that comes in to make sure Disney's okay during the storm.
Okay.
I can't think of the official name of it, but it's basically they station people around. Like someone's job is to make sure to let them know the utilidors started flooding. Oof. Like, they have people all over property so they can repair it as quickly as possible when it's over.
And I know that through some of our other listeners who are there right now, I've managed to have some side conversations with them. And from the guest perspective, I asked, is Disney making anything knowledgeable to the guests about what's going on? And they're like, right now it's business as usual. But I do know that there's also a lot of people that have been on the phones trying to cancel their reservations with Disney. There's a lot of exceptions that are being made to typical cancellation policies, not only for Disney, but some airlines, even not all airlines. Because believe it or not, earlier this afternoon, about 4 o'clock this afternoon Central Time, I checked American Airlines, which is an airline that I fly, pretty consistently, especially down in Florida. They listed a lot of airports that were under a travel advisory, et cetera, not Orlando yet. So the thing is that people are, really concerned about, whether or not they're going to be able to make some changes, especially flying into Orlando. Because a lot of times airlines will go ahead and change, their policies for certain things. And I highly recommend that people, start monitoring that as well. In fact, I actually got a phone call from Lynn, one of our longtime listeners, saying that her daughter, actually two of her daughters, are actually supposed to be heading down tomorrow. Oof. And one of them is celebrating her 21st birthday down at Disney. That was the whole thing that she was looking forward to. And she's like, Chris, I don't know how to really tell them that I don't think they should go. Or, I just don't want them to go. And I said, well, listen, you can make them mad at you for, now, temporarily, or they can call you scared when they can't figure out how to get home right after the storm.
Yeah.
So there are just sometimes you're just going to no one wants to cancel a Disney trip. Oh my gosh. Nobody wants to do that. But, no one also wants to be stuck in Florida after the storm without any way of taking care of things. I mean, Disney Cruise Lines has started canceling some different sailings between now and the early part of next week. And I know that's kind of a mess, right? Because sometimes you can't just pick up and change things, but you kind of have to. You got to think of your safety first. Disney does a great job at protecting their guests. Disney also does a really good job of protecting their guests, even entertaining their guests, I should say, as they're there. But Matthew last year was a real pain in the butt, and I couldn't believe that guests were actually doing some complaining about how Disney handled it. And it was like, folks, people don't realize that you can't get supplies into a big, I'll say big campus like Disney in the middle of a hurricane. So things are going to happen, like, I don't know, running out of certain food products and stuff like that. I'm sorry, go ahead, Brent.
I think a big problem with Matthew is both Osceola and Orange County did almost a 36-hour curfew.
Yeah.
So like their staff couldn't come in to try to open the park. They had to go with the skeleton crew and open what they could.
Yeah, that's a very good point. I mean, people don't realize that during these types of storms, there are curfews that are put in place, not just during the storm, but for a certain period of time after the storm, mainly to allow, different types of safety crews, whether it be utilities or first responders or whatever, to basically address, safety in the neighborhood. Whether it means, getting roads back open, stoplights back working, just basic necessities for daily life. I know for Gene, it was also like 36 hours. And, I just hung out at my friend's house. We watched Disney movies, almost the entire time. It was quite cool. Oh, and we baked a lot. Because nothing says hurricane weather like baking. So, but yeah, go ahead.
Disney did put out I want to say lengthy, but a kind of idea of what to, do and how to go about things. It's basically if a hurricane warning is issued by the National Hurricane Center for the Orlando area or for your place of residence within 7 days of your scheduled arrival date, you may call in advance to reschedule or cancel your Walt Disney Travel Company Magic Your Way vacation package and most room-only reservations booked directly with Disney. They make sure they put that little tidbit in there without any cancellation or change fees imposed by Disney. If you have products or services provided by third-party suppliers included in your vacation, such as airline, hotels, car rentals, agencies, or vacation insurance companies, you will continue to be responsible for any non-refundable payments, as well as cancellation or change fees assessed by those suppliers. The policy does not apply to certain special events or dining experiences. The policy also applies to Disney Vero Beach Resort or Disney's Hilton Head Island Resort in the event of a hurricane warning is issued for those destinations. If anybody has any questions or you wish to reschedule your vacation to a hurricane warning, you can call 407-939-7675. I will once again give that phone number one more time. 407-939-7675. Guests under 18 years of age obviously must have a parent or guardian to call.
I always find that funny. It's like, really, you're going to have your teenager, hey, guess what? My parents want to cancel the trip. Yeah.
So they're basically saying, even to touch on the cruises, they're canceling future cruises, and cruises in water currently in that vicinity are headed back early. I see some people in here like, hey, it's my vacation, I'm still going down. And I see people in the state of Florida, they're like, we can't get flights out. Everything is, sold out of the stores.
I think it's a bad idea.
Yeah. There's worse places, I guess, to be stuck in a storm than Disney. I get it. But at the same time, me personally, if a hurricane's ripping through Orlando, let's just hypothetically say it's going to hit Orlando, I don't want to be stuck in an all-star resort room when I could have my house. You know what I mean?
Well, here's the thing, and either one of you keep me honest here. I don't know if a lot of people actually been through a hurricane before. Okay, I've been through one. Brian, I'm assuming you've been through at least one or two in your residency there.
Yeah, I've also been, when I was up living more by Danny, a few up there, including Sandy.
Okay, so you've seen the havoc that this can cause. Not just a storm, not just a little bit of disruption during the day, but there are disruptions that happen after the storm. Now, I know I keep referring to one I experienced in 04. Here's the thing. Gene was only one of two that happened within a month. And the first one slammed against Central Florida really bad. And it, when we arrived, a few weeks later, like Orlando International Airport, well, it looked like the militarized zone because it had so much damage done to it because of the hurricanes. And, the thing is that, it took them a long time to even repair something such as the airport. Disney's buildings and stuff like that are built very well. So I would feel very safe if I was stuck there during an unexpected type of storm like that. But I myself, I wouldn't want to be in the middle of it. I mean, if I knew I was going to be there, and I keep on seeing people saying, I'm going to drive down there. You got to think about this, guys. You may not have gas. I mean, fuel supplies out in Texas, which is the oil capital of the United States, practically, they were having problems getting gas, stuff like that. It's caused such a problem that it's even caused gas prices to rise nationwide, including here in the Midwest around Chicago.
Very fast.
Oh, very quickly. In fact, I'll tell you right now, not really a plug, but I'm going to say right now, thank God I run E85 in my car because it's like there's no shortage of that right now. But the thing is that it's been crazy. I don't know if I would want to risk it. And I am the kind of person that before Hurricane Gene, I called American Airlines and I said, I want to get down to Florida a day early. And she's like, do you realize you're going into a hurricane zone? I said, yes, I do. And she changed the flight. And then she said, Mr. Salata, your flight's been changed. God bless you. I'm like, wow, thanks a lot. And I went down there a day early. And I got to be honest with you, if I had to do it all over again, there's no way on God's green earth I would change. I would change to go down earlier. I would just cancel things.
I want to just touch one thing. I know it's a cool idea to be hunkered down in Disney. I get it, like I said, there'd be some cool places I'd like to be hunkered down inside Disney. If you have the option and the ability to be out of the area, look at it this way. They are having to bus more cast members in. They are having to put more cast members up to help everybody that is going to be on property. Okay? So what you're just doing now is you're taking workers, cast members, away from their families because you guys couldn't stay home. I want you all to just think about that for a second. Take yourself out of the equation. And I'm going to say something. Please don't take it the wrong way. It's just the word I'm going to use. Don't be selfish in this situation. You are taking a mother or a father or a son or a daughter or a brother, sister, however you want to look at it, away from their family during what could be a very dramatic storm so you can ride it out in a Disney hotel. If you can do it, cancel your trip. If you can avoid being there, do it.
My whole take is also this, is that, and again, I hope nobody takes this the wrong way. I don't mean it this way, but, as I said, Matthew was one of those things where people complained about the simplest things. And I'm like, guys, you just got hit by a pretty good storm. Disney took precautions. You need to understand this is what happens during a major storm. I just don't, I'm hoping that people realize that and don't slam Disney on social media for them taking precautions. Brian, if you don't mind me asking, for you as a resident of the Central Florida area, what kind of things do you take care of in order to prepare for such an event? And I just want people to really get an idea of, things that you have to be concerned about over the next, 3 to 4 days. Brian, it doesn't sound like we have audio on you right now. Can you go ahead and try that again?
Yeah, can you hear me okay?
We can hear you again. Thank you so much.
Okay. So first off, it starts with the normal stuff. Obviously, you need to have food. You need to have water. I'm pretty much assuming that there's going to be no power and no phone, possibly for a week or two, which can make some stuff kind of interesting. My daughter happens to work at Universal, so we're already starting to look at possibly just grabbing a room there just in case, so she can stay closer to work, where it is walking distance. Then you just got the normal stuff. I mean, it's, there's lakes everywhere. There's animals that are going to come visit. You're probably going to get cockroaches that are going to come out of the rain. Is your trees trimmed? Like I did that over the weekend, was just getting all the dead limbs down. There's actually companies that specialize in coming around and just hurricane proofing your shrubbery.
Wow.
Interesting.
My garbage can smelled horrible. I got that washed out so I can actually have it in my garage instead of outside.
Okay.
So, it's for the most part, it's normal stuff. Is your house protected and everything? The one interesting thing about Disney is it is Central Florida, both north and south and east and west. So chances are whenever you hear people in Florida being evacuated, they're all coming here because of the amount of hotels here. And it becomes...
But there's a problem with that, though. If for some reason Central Florida tends to also be in the direct path, which, well, we won't know yet for a couple of days, but
yeah, and that's why this one's pretty. Usually, I'm okay with, like, when I was traveling, I was okay with coming down with a hurricane. It's like, okay, it'll be like a half a day, maybe get stuck in a room overnight, sleep it out, and then hit the park with no one in it tomorrow.
Mm-hmm.
This storm is big. It's supposed to be coming straight through. Charlie did something very similar. Charlie was very destructive. That's the one where Disney itself didn't take much damage, but the second you stepped off property, you realized there was no gas at gas stations. There was no power for a week to two. No one had cell phone service for a week or two. It's just like Disney literally became a bubble on that one. Actually, the DVC store at Wilderness Lodge, I wasn't down during that one, but my understanding is that was the only place to buy food.
Wow.
And people were coming there like it was a supermarket.
Wow.
That's impressive.
To speak on, how you said it's a massive storm. Here's a comparison. If you take your point to point, Tallahassee to Miami is exactly 400 miles the way the crow flies. So it's not roadway. That's if a bird took off from Tallahassee and threw flight to Miami, it's 400 miles, right? That's how big this storm is.
What?
It's 400 miles big.
Holy cow. I did not realize it was, that big wide.
Essentially, if you took this storm and put it directly on, like, if you put the eye on Orlando saying that's the center, it would almost encompass the entire state of Florida. That's how massive this thing is.
Yeah, it's like twice the size of what just hit Houston, and then it's also stronger.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think that's a concern. And also, it's not just that, but, if this does start going upward, like up the center of the state, like some models predict. The fact of the matter is, it's also going to impact, it's going to impact other states. It's going to impact Georgia. It's going to impact South Carolina. It's going to possibly impact North Carolina. Maybe not necessarily with, Category 5 winds, but, it could possibly go up as far north as Atlanta and provide torrential downpours. This is a really big thing. And so if you're driving down there and you're thinking that you're going to be able to escape it, the fact of the matter is that you're going to have to drive a day and a half before you could actually escape it. And that's not in a day and a half when people are trying to prepare for things. It's like, again, you got to make sure that you're going to be able to find fuel and food and lodging in order to do that. And
you also have to be able to get back out. That's what I think a lot of people forget. It's
well,
like the storm's going to go up the coast. You're going to have to drive back with it.
Yeah, and I think that's a big concern. And the idea is, I'll just go ahead. I'll stay there. I'm not planning on leaving until Tuesday of next week anyway. It should already be gone. But then your infrastructure between airports and transportation may still be in limbo. And that's what I was trying to explain to some friends today. And I hope they listen. I don't want to ruin anybody's trip. Mother Nature's doing that for you. But again, I'd rather have you be upset for a little bit now than scared and scared and worried and concerned about how you're going to survive by yourself in a hurricane area. I mean, Brian, people such as yourself, you've kind of, you're kind of prepared because you've been there, you've done that, you know what to do. and you are in preparedness mode. There's a lot of people that come, even I know there are people saying that they were supposed to be coming in from overseas, and they've never had to deal with something like this before. That's kind of nerve-wracking. So, but yeah, I mean, flights are going to start to get canceled, and who knows what's going to happen, because you're going to have to compete with tens of thousands of people to get out of there. But we'll have to see what happens there. I mean, yeah, I mean, Ian actually made a comment here. He's from Streaming to Magic here. He's like, read that most, if not all, flights out of Florida are already at capacity, which if they weren't normally already at capacity, they probably were. I know I've offered my place to some friends and cohorts in Central Florida saying, hey, you need a place to stay, come on up. I've got pizza. So, good pizza, not like that pizza on the East Coast, but good pizza.
You're funny. I see. We have to add a little laughter to things like this, but that's just a bad joke.
I know it's not. It's a bad joke. I'm not trying to joke about this whole thing. I'm not making light of it. Although we do have better pizza than you.
We're not going to do that. Here's the thing. There's so many scenarios on what the storm can do. Like we talked about in the beginning of the show. Let's all say a little prayer. Whoever you pray to, knock on some wood, wear your pajamas inside out, whatever you feel. You never did that when as a kid when you wanted snow?
I've never worn my pajamas inside out, at least not on purpose.
Well, fair enough. Whatever it is you need to do to, help move this storm, and let's just hopefully it could be pushed out to sea and we can all resume our normal vacations, no destruction, everything like that. That's great blue sky thinking. I just prepare for the worst, hope for the best, I guess. That's the best thing I can say.
There is, I'll tell you this. I said that Disney does a really good job at trying to, entertain guests as best as possible. I think what people have to realize is that, during curfew, there's a lot of times where Disney will tell guests stay in their room, and they'll tell guests to stay in their room even if you're in a hotel that has indoor corridors, because they want everybody to be safe. And once things got cleared up, parks may not necessarily be open right away, but Disney will try to do what they can to try to entertain guests. But at the same time, I do want. It's just like you said, Danny. I just want people to be safe. I want people to realize that there's always going to be another vacation. It's just one of those things. But I think in a future episode this week, I got a few other things that I would like to bring up about it, but they're more of the humorous nature, and I don't really want to crack that mood right now. I
think something worth bringing up is if you are here already and it looks like you're going to have trouble getting out, you need to kind of prepare yourself the same way I am, but you only need to do it for like a day or two. Because when Disney says you're in your room, you're not going to get the food. You may not have refrigeration. So, you also need to go get some waters, go get the expensive bagels and muffins and boxes of donuts, and just get yourself like a good 24 hours of food.
That's a good idea, Brian. Because kind of like what you're thinking, and the resorts that have DVC, they usually have more of a selection than some of the other places, but go get things that will last a few days.
I'm actually it's actually not there anymore, but I was a huge fan of the store at Caribbean Beach. That one was like going into a supermarket.
Yeah. Yeah. And their food court was great in the sense of being able to pick up good, items to go type of thing.
Yeah. To touch on what you guys are saying, basically, if your trip, say, overlaps this, if you're already there and you're staying till the following week, or somehow if your vacation overlaps this, listen to what they're saying. Or you could simply take an Uber, take time out of the sunny vacation you're having right now, go out to a Walmart.
Right now you want to go to CVS or Duane Reade. Walmarts and Publixes are pretty much empty.
They're pretty much empty. Okay.
Yeah, you want to go to the places that are like, I'll call it mom and pop shops.
Best Buy actually sells water. So consider Best Buy.
Just be careful.
Why?
But Best Buy was gouging people in Texas.
Oh, yeah, but they learned that particular lesson.
Yeah, they got. I mean, try everywhere. Maybe you get lucky and maybe go to a gas station. Try anything you could possibly hit. If one's hit and it's empty, just keep on going, because at the end of the day, the last thing you want to do is get stuck with nothing.
And something to also consider is this is Tuesday night. They'll be restocked by Thursday, Friday. So It actually was good that they sold out this early, because now they can clear the warehouse and bring it all in.
Very good. Very true.
Yeah. But, pick up things like bread, or even, I'll say granola bars, snack bars, things that have a little bit of, I'll say, nutrition to it. This is also one of those cases where I say, when I travel, I always carry 2 to 3 extra days of my meds, just so that I have them in case for some reason something like this happens. And if for some reason you think you're going to be stuck, in Florida for a couple extra days beyond what maybe you have a supply for your own, medications, you may want to contact your doctor or pharmacist to see if you can possibly get a few extra days sent to your local, the local CVS or Walgreens or something like that.
Actually, what you're going to do is you're actually going to use Turner Drugs, which is where Disney will send you.
Mm-hmm.
Turner Drugs will deliver to every resort. You do not need to be there to get it.
Nice. Turner Drugs. I have to remember that.
It's Turner Drugs. If you can't remember it, just call the front desk. Disney will tell you the same name. They're in Celebration. They deliver to all the resorts. They will not take your insurance. You are going to have to pay out of pocket. So tell your doctor not to go nuts, and then you're going to have to submit it afterwards. So just get the 5 days you need. Don't get a whole month.
That's a really good suggestion, Brian. I wouldn't have thought about that, but at Turner Drugs. Okay.
Yeah, when they drop it off, Disney pays them, then front desk calls you and you go pay Disney.
Wow. That's awesome.
Now, what about ordering from Amazon?
I would recommend it. So you got to remember, this is an Amazon Prime Now. Prime Now is up like a 2-hour delivery window. They do some fresh food. There is no Whole Foods right on top, so Amazon Fresh is not down here. Prime Pantry, if you have the couple days for the big box to come, is also an option.
Mm-hmm.
And then if you want to take a chance, there's a company called Garden Grocers.
GardenGrocer.com.
They basically go to Publix and shop for you.
Yeah.
Okay. So those are some great options, if you don't want to take an Uber off property, or you don't want to pay, the overpriced muffin. Honestly, I mean, at the end of the day, if the overpriced muffin is all you're going to get, trust me, we're all going to pay. When you're hungry, you're going to pay whatever it is. But, we're trying to give you as much information as we possibly can. We want to answer your questions. We have a couple questions in here, so I'll read them out and let's just try to go through them as a team here. Nick would like to know a couple of questions. Do you think this hurricane will be worse than the previous hurricanes that have hit Disney?
I think it kind of depends on the point of reference, because like last year, Matthew was predicted to be stronger than it actually hit, but it still hit the outskirts pretty heavily. It just didn't necessarily hit Disney as hard. So some people thought that Disney overreacted. Brian, I don't know if you had a thought on that one.
There's a lot of people that got stuck in the area. That was the biggest crowds I've ever seen after a hurricane. But there was like, I think it was the first time there was a curfew. No one could go to work. They couldn't come help Disney. They were stuck with whoever Disney already had property. In fact, Springs was open for 4 hours before the curfew lifted.
Oh, wow.
So they literally ran Disney for a day and a half on the skeleton crew they brought in.
Wow.
All right. And the second part of that was, how much damage do you think it will impact the Walt Disney World, and what will Disney do to make sure all the guests are safe?
Well, I think
no, sorry. Go ahead, Brian. I was
going to say, the first thing goes into the construction. You got to remember that Disney rewrote the book on how to reclaim swampland and build down here. They're actually built to both California earthquake standards and Category 5 hurricane standards. So the building themselves should be fine, as long as you stay in it. Don't go outside and take a picture. And there are people that will be doing that.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
So, stick in your building. And really, that's what it comes down to. It's like, where are the trees going to fall? Because some are going to fall. The devastation will be far worse off property because it's not as well maintained as Disney maintains it. And that's where it gets a little trickier, which is why getting home, getting staff into work at Disney becomes the really big challenge. But Disney owns their own power plants. They own their own water facility. They own their own sewer facility. I've never heard of Disney losing power for a storm. Everything's there to keep you as safe as you can be. So if you're stuck at Disney, it's not bad. I don't know if I'd fly in for this one and ride it out, then start my vacation. But if you're here already, I wouldn't feel unsafe. Just get yourself ready for that 24 hours you might be stuck in your room.
I mean, the thing of it is that they will do what they can to clear any debris that falls on different pathways, walkways, roadways, etc. Traveling on buses and stuff like that, you're going to most likely see, trees down and so on and so forth. Disney does not necessarily have to do a lot with their buildings to, get hunkered down for a storm. One of the funniest, I don't know if this was meant as a joke, but, I saw a post today saying, I heard that they dismantled the castle before a Category 5 storm. Is that true? We're like, no, the castle has survived many a hurricane. I'm sure it will survive this one as well. And, the thing is that, you got to realize there's going to be some damage. I mean, past hurricanes, you may see a few roof tiles that have, flown off or something like that, or, other ornate pieces of decoration that might not necessarily survive. But the buildings themselves, you're probably in some of the safest buildings that you could ever be in, as long as you're in the buildings. Heed all the warnings that Disney has to say about, different things. They will most likely have informational channels on the resort TVs. My other point to it is this: make sure that you have your phones fully charged as much as possible. Use your phones only in cases of emergency. If power starts to go out, etc. Use some common sense. You're in the middle of a disaster area, and so you're going to have to take some of those things into consideration.
Another question we had here was from Tracy. Are there any hotels where you can stay in the building but still make it to a restaurant without having to physically exit? So it's going to rule out basically any values and
moderates as well.
All the moderates too, right? So you're talking deluxe only.
Well, not just
Contemporary might be the only one.
Well, there's Lodge, Animal Kingdom Lodge. And also parts of Grand Floridian.
That's also assuming they leave the restaurant open.
Yes.
Yes. Because keep in mind, they may tell people you're under curfew. You need to stay in your rooms. And, that means nothing's going to go on. And they're going to most likely tell people you're not getting out of your rooms. There's nothing going to be open. And even then, I'm sure, kind of like Brian, what you said, people can't get, to their workplace, they're not going to have things open. That means they can't stock things and this, that, and the other. Get what you need now and understand it's going to be a little bit of a problem. But yeah, those are the biggest things.
Okay. Big thing to stay inside, people. At the end of the day, I'm not laughing at that statement. Just something else.
No, you're laughing at people trying to take a picture, and
I've been known to go outside in situations I shouldn't be going outside in.
Oh, look! There's a tornado. I'm gonna take a picture.
You gotta understand. You're gonna have people in Florida that are like, we've been through hurricanes. We're gonna stay. We're gonna go outside. This is a whole different beast. This is something that's very unpredictable. There's sustaining winds of 100 miles an hour with 200 plus mile an hour winds that are gusts. That's unheard of. That's faster than Formula One. That's a blink of an eye. You're gone. That's going to pick your little body up. I don't care how big you are. And, you're going to be flying with the cows.
Yeah, that's we're not in Kansas anymore, Toto type of wind.
I do want to touch on something. And this is something where I know no one else has talked about because I've been closely watching this, and it may not mean anything. But have you guys also seen there is a tropical storm forming behind it, and that is Tropical Storm Jose?
I have. I was watching that. In fact, I heard that during our local news this morning, as a matter of fact. And so it's one of those things where, they got something else forming. Who knows what's going to happen? The fact of the matter is that even if it's a tropical storm, and even if it comes near Florida, the fact of the matter is you don't normally need more rain after you have a major event like this in the first place.
Yeah.
So there's also a second one that's in the Gulf heading the other way.
Is there really?
Yeah.
So
it's much weaker though.
I was going to say, coming from the west?
It's down by Panama.
Oh, okay. A lot of people are concerned with the animals. What's going on? Do they stay on property? Are they well sheltered? Do you guys have any insight on what Disney's protocol is with anything going on, I guess, in Animal Kingdom, essentially?
I know a little bit. They actually have a full set of, I guess pens would be the best word for it. If you've ever taken the train to Rafiki's, you've seen the baby giraffes and stuff that are in those pens. They have enough for all animals, and they actually go to them every night, is what I understand.
Right. They actually the animals, not all animals. Well, my understanding that all of them go into their homes, so to speak.
The horses and stuff, like the Main Street horses, they'll probably stay on the ranch. If you don't know, in Florida, the cheapest taxes is a ranch. And all unused land of both Universal and Disney is a ranch, and there are horses, cows, and everything. So Disney has its own stables. Right. And that's where the horses go every day anyway. So it's a built-up full ranch.
Isn't I know one of them, or some of the horses go to, is like the Tri-Circle D Ranch over at Fort Wilderness.
That one too.
Yeah.
But there actually is a very large one that's off of World Drive, closer to Flamingo Crossing.
Oh, okay. But yeah, I mean it's they've got things covered. We may not necessarily have all the details of that, but they're going to have them. They're going to have them covered, because the last thing you're going to want to do is have animals hurt in sustained winds like that. Someone made a comment about they're wild animals. They should be able to survive something like this. Well, not all of them have. Not all of them have. I say are from are indigenous areas that have 200-mile-an-hour gust of winds. So,
another couple questions that came through. Does Disney board any of the windows? I guess I'm not too concerned with lobby windows and things like that. I'm more gonna just specify: are they doing anything for the windows that are located at your room?
I don't. Well, they are rated for hurricanes, so they're not. It's not like a window you would put in your house in the Midwest.
Okay.
Yeah, I've never even when I was there for different hurricanes or other weather events like that. You don't see them do stuff like that.
I still recommend. They could be rated for Hurricane 107, whatever it is. I still don't recommend standing, eyes against the glass, staring outside, trying to see past the rain and watch the wind.
Yeah, I don't care what. Closed. Keep the curtains closed. Get another layer to catch stuff if something happens.
Yeah, I mean,
think safety.
Yeah.
If you're from the Midwest, the way I would look at it is, think of a hurricane. It's a very big extended tornado. That's the kind of thing you have to deal with, except it's going to be more consistent over a longer period of time.
Yeah. Listen, Brian nailed it on the head in the beginning of the show. It's going to be a wicked 24-hour ride for anybody that's there. And then after that, you're going to have to pick up the pieces, and you're going to have to figure out exactly how to go about things, how to get home, how to finish your trip, whatever the case may be about. Renee wants to know, what about the Polynesian bungalows? I'm sure they'll be evacuated. They're not going to let you sit on open water like that, essentially.
Well, I bet you anymore. Well,
I think they closed them for Matthew, so it's pretty safe to say that they have rooms waiting.
Okay.
Tree houses, I'm not sure. Tree houses, I think they'd stay in.
Really?
Well, the tree houses have that giant elevator in the middle of them. They're not necessarily like a tree house.
Yeah, I would be more concerned of a tree landing on it.
Well, I can understand that, but then also you have to worry about you would have that same worry for like the cabins at Fort Wilderness as well.
Yeah, I know they cleared the campsites. I don't think they cleared the cabins.
Wow.
Yeah, because those are actual structures, and actually the tree houses themselves are, well built structures that would most likely still have to be under the same guidelines of, her being hurricane proof, hurricane resistant type of thing. And go ahead.
No, please. It was nothing.
The one thing, it's kind of funny. Alex actually brought up a question. Will the family that is, doing the bucket list family that's there for the 30 days or 30 stays and 30 days be there? I don't see why not. And I tell you the truth, I actually kind of, for lack of a better way of putting it, I've been following them on Instagram and also Disney's Instagram page to see what they've been doing. It should be kind of interesting to hear what they have to say over what's going to be happening over the next few days. So,
I know, Scott, people are asking, what is that 24-hour window? When are we expecting it? We'll know more as time goes on. And listen, hey, if we have to do the rest of the week talking about the Disney hurricane, talking about the hurricane, approaching Florida, we'll talk about it. If you guys want to bring Brian back on and he's available, we'll do it. If other people want to come on and talk to her, we can do whatever you guys want to do. Talking Disney is going to be an all the time thing for us. If this is what people that are in Disney and people in, Florida and want to have these conversations and talk, we'll do it all day. So, as we learn more, you can always check the Disney Community Facebook page, and we'll put any updates up there as we find out. Because no one knows where the storm is heading yet. It's still a little too early. It's just everybody knows that Florida is going to get impacted one way or the other. How harsh it's going to be, that's the question.
And for the 24 hours, I'm saying that's really just be prepared for like a good 24 to 36 hours where you can't go buy something to eat. Be ready for entertaining your kids for a day and a half in the room. Eating. Actually, a trick that I've actually used on a couple business trips, your coffee pot, mix hot water.
Oh, yeah.
Cup of noodles and other things will work very well in a coffee pot.
Cup of noodles, oatmeal. Yeah. Not to mention coffee.
Uncle Danny would be happy with that. And Rosalie says a great point. If anybody's in that area, the Orange County, Florida, you can download the free app. It's OCFL. It's the alert. That'll give a little bit general idea of a little more information and keep you guys up to date. So, Scott, please be safe. I know you're out there. I think Stan's out there too. Another one of our listeners.
Right. Yeah.
We got a couple people out there. Here's going to be the really tricky part. For anybody who's got loved ones down there or just concerned and have some friends down there, getting in touch with people to make sure they're okay. So, if anybody is going to ride it out, obviously the first thing you need to worry about is staying safe. And once you feel you are safe, second thing, if at all possible, reach out to loved ones. Reach out to us if you feel inclined enough to just help make sure everybody is safe and kind of keep an eye on everybody to, see what we can do to help everybody out down there.
Yeah, I mean, if there's anything that we can do and along the lines of, even if you gave us numbers on the side and said, hey, I'm having problems getting a hold of my family, but my phone's dying or whatever like that, you want us to help out somehow, let us know. PM us. We'll figure it out. I know it seems kind of weird to say that, but, the fact of the matter is that, we've said it before. We'll say it again. We believe that we're a part of a larger Disney community, and we'll see what we can do to help you out.
That is right. This is the Behind the Ears Hurricane Tracking with your favorite meteorologist, Uncle Danny and Mr. Chris and Brian. Let's see.
Our man in the street, Brian. Actually, we hope that he's not in the street. We would prefer that he broadcast from his living room.
Brian,
I've done a lot. Right now, it's hot and pain in the ass.
It's raining sideways.
It's still our Florida winter. We stay inside at this time of year.
Exactly. Okay. Before we wrap this up, let's end on a fun note. We're going to take this one question. So let's take a step away from the hurricane subject for a second. do you guys think there will be a name change coming to Hollywood studios? And of those names that they were surveying guests, which one would you guys suggest? Okay, I'll start with this. There's a name change coming, and please, for whatever God you pray to, make sure it's none of those things on that list.
I mean, I remember what was the list. I don't remember what was on the list, though.
That's how bad they were. They weren't even worth remembering. They were terrible. I don't know. This question has been posed to us before. We're not exactly sure what it's going to be a name change to, or what we personally think it should be. But I personally believe it's coming.
Yeah, I believe the change is going to come as well. I've stated my case that I'm hoping that the aspect of old time Hollywood stays within Hollywood studios or something like that. I don't know. I'm kind of torn. It's not going to make me hate the place regardless of what the name is. I mean, I'm looking forward to the changes that are coming on, but I still love the old time Hollywood feel to things. That's just my 2 cents. However, whatever they do, I'm sure hey, they're not going to listen to me about it, so I'll be fine with it, and I'll enjoy the park no matter what.
Brian, we can't hear you. No.
Really?
No.
Oh, there you go.
There you go.
Yeah, I got to figure out what's going on here. Personally, I think they're just going to pull the studios off the name and make it Disney's Hollywood. I mean, Grand Avenue, California. They're getting a California theme. You now have the old Hollywood. You have the Hollywood Boulevard. Now you have Grand Avenue. It's just Disney's Hollywood now. I think they're just going to pull the studios off the name. It's no longer backstage, and it's now Disney's Hollywood. Let's start. You got our Pixar. You got our Star Wars. Whatever else they add.
I mean, no matter what you change it to, it's still going to be MGM to me. So at the end of the day, change it to what you want.
I like Brian's idea though.
Yeah,
I think that's actually a really cool comment, a really cool suggestion. It'd be interesting to see what happens with that one.
What has he got there?
Oh, up a little higher.
Great movie ride.
Oh, there you go.
That was the free gift for the walkthrough.
Oh,
wow.
Yeah, it's the only time they've ever put that print out. And it's the original crayon-drawn version.
Crayon.
Very cool. Scott, I'm going to message you on the side so we can chat a little bit about things going on down there. All right, so Brian, do you have any final words you'd like to say to everybody?
Just stay safe, and remember, it is a big storm. Stay inside.
Yeah, so Brian, thanks for coming on with us. And Brian, please keep in touch with all of us so, we can make sure you're safe, and we wish you the best for you and your family. And everybody down there, Stan and Scott and Ed,
Ashley's down there too.
Ashley, Tristan, Alex, everybody just, stay above water. That's a bad terminology for that. Be smart, and just don't do anything I would do. That's probably the best saying. It's probably more eloquent. So everybody, please be safe. We'll kind of gauge what goes on in the news tomorrow. We will try and touch on this again on Thursday. But for tomorrow, we'll see what exactly is coming through the news, and keeping an eye on Irma and Jose and all these other storms that are going to be racking up through there. So with that being said, don't forget to follow us on all our social media platforms. This doesn't seem to be a show where we need to plug all that nonsense. Just at the end of the day, be safe, because that's the biggest thing you guys can do. So, Chris, any final words for everybody?
All I gotta say is that, we're really sincere when we say if there's anything that we can do as a community to help you guys out, whether it be helping you get a hold of people, do drop us a line over at behindthearspodcast@gmail.com. PM us. Granted, Danny and I both have day jobs that, we have to obviously focus on as well during this time, but we'll do what we can to help you guys out. I say within reason. I think you guys understand what I mean by that. But we hope that we don't have to come to that, but just let us know if there's something that we can do to help you out.
Yeah, I mean, trust me, car's fueled up, ready to go. I've got extra waters that, if need be, I will be on my way. I don't know exactly how I'll get there. My car does not float, but
mine does.
I do have a boat. I don't know if a pontoon boat can make it down 95, but we'll see what we can do. Everybody, once again, be safe. We will see you all tomorrow night Godspeed.
Take care, y'all.